What is going on YouTube? And welcome back to JoJo Speaks. This is a new thing that I'm trying out. So I'm going to start doing reviews on Powebook Ghost. Season 4, episode 6 is the video that we're doing today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speak about the things that stuck out to me, my favorite parts of it. I will have to say, first of all, before we get started, this was an excellent episode, like one of the best episodes, especially this season. And it was definitely worth the wait. Of course, we had to wait a couple of weeks. I think it was a little bit over a month, maybe 2 months, because they split this final season up into two. So, of course, there are 10 episodes for this season. So they did the first five, and now we're on the second five. Here's my thing. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit disappointed that this show is coming to an end. But again, how far can you take this show? How long is the show going to be on? So who knows? But I'm definitely enjoying this particular season. And the main reason why I'm enjoying this season so much is because it's so surprising to me that in this Power universe, they haven't had the angle where the cops are getting a cut from the drug dealers so that they have, some type of deal going on. And so the fact that they actually have this particular storyline going on with Agent Carter, well, not Agent Carter, that's from Marvel, but the Officer Carter, who is being played by Michael Ealy, who is a great addition to the show. I mean, he plays this character perfectly. And the fact that he's got his own team that is in on the ruse, that is in on the backdoor dealings that they have with these drug dealers, I think is amazing and makes sense to me that that Rashad Tate's brother ended up getting offed at the end of this episode. Like, I knew when the Officer Carter was meeting up with Tate's brother at the end of the episode. I said, ain't no way he gonna make it out, because when you know too much information, you ain't gonna last long on this show at all. So R.I.P. to Rashad Tate's brother. I forgot what his name was on the show, but I just knew that once he saw one of Carter's associates, taking that person's life and then stealing the money from him, I was like, yeah, that brother knows too much. So when you know too much, don't let them know. Okay, y'all saw what happened to that officer in Raising Canaan. What was her name? I forgot what her name was. But Howard's partner, when she got offed in the first episode of the third season, ciao. Anyway, so I want to start out with Drew, because I feel like if I don't talk about Drew first off, then I'm going to forget about his storyline. So Drew is spying on might as well call him Agent Carter, because that's what keeps on coming to my mind. He's spying on Carter. Monet wants to get some dirt on him so that they can get from under his thumb. Because in episode 5, Carter made a deal with Monet to allow her to continue selling her drugs, and giving him a cut off the top, as long as there is no innocent blood shed. And that's the most interesting thing about Agent Carter killing Rashad Tate's brother at the end of the episode, because that's innocent blood, brother. That's innocent blood. You are breaking your own rules. So that's a little iffy to me. But anyway, so Drew is spying on Agent Carter for Monet so that they can try to get some dirt on him. And so eventually Drew ends up getting put into prison. He gets put in, or jail rather. Agent Carter puts him in jail so that he can take out one of the guys who lived, who was shot at that meeting that happened in episode 5 between Agent Carter, Monet, Drew, and that crew that was trying to get up with the Tejadas. Apparently, one of those men were kept alive, well, stayed alive. And apparently they heard exactly what Agent Carter had discussed with Monet, so he doesn't want that business out in these streets. And so he wants Drew to take the life of that man. And so while Drew is in jail, he's at the cafeteria. He's got his food or whatever, and so he sits down and he sees the dude that he's supposed to be taking the life of, and he's talking to someone else. Now I don't necessarily remember who that other person was, but he said that he's got an interview with the FBI about Carter, and Drew uses that to his advantage later on in the episode. So Drew does take the life of the man that he's supposed to. Now when that guy who was and I'm sorry, I don't know names. But that guy who's working with Agent Carter, when he talks to Drew in the prison, for some reason, I'm always hoping for Drew to have a boyfriend. But of course, Drew is my favorite character because he's the only LGBTQIA plus representation on this show. So I was like, would I like to see him with that guy? But I'd like to see him with. I don't want to say I'd like to see him with anybody because I really didn't like Everett for him. But I just want Drew to have love because clearly that's very important to him. But he ends up taking the life of the guy that he's supposed to, and to me, that was the wackest death scene that I've seen on this show. Yes, he covered his mouth and his nose so that he wouldn't be able to breathe. And, yes, that's the way to take someone's life. But it was whack to me. And of course they gonna have Drew doing the they don't respect Drew on this show. At least not in my opinion, because he never has a good storyline on this show. Never has a good storyline on his show. I just want things to go well for him as it goes so well for Tariq. And we'll get to Tariq a little bit later in the episode. But anyways, after Drew does the deal, he calls the officer who is in contact with him concerning what he's supposed to do in the jail, and he says, I got some other information. There's another dude up in here who says he's got an interview with the FBI, and he's going to put Carter's information out on Front Street. So you want me to take him out? I will take him out, but I need to be lieutenant. I need to have some. I need to have some status in this whole thing that y'all got going on, and y'all need to leave my mother and my sister alone. Now, it doesn't seem like the man agreed to those terms and conditions. However, Drew does seem like he's going to end up doing what it is that he said he was going to do anyway. So that is Drew's storyline. Let's get to Kane. Kane is my second favorite character on this show. At least in my opinion, he is the second most attractive man in the Power universe. Second to Joey Badass, who plays Unique on Raising Kanan. Like, Joey Badass is just everything to me. But anyway, so Kane's got things going on with Norma, of course. We know that they are bumping uglies, as Alexander Rogers would say. And so we got that whole thing going on. But because Kane has roughed up Zion in the previous episode when they had that fight going on at his underground lair or whatever, Zion got it out for Kane and for Norma, and we also know that Norma has this connection to the government, trying to get some paperwork going through, and so when they meet, she takes Kane to meet this man so that they can finalize their deal, and while they're meeting at this very posh restaurant, Zion comes through and shoots it up and, ends up taking the life of the government official. And of course, Norma blames all of this on Kane, which is very, very interesting to me. But technically, it is kind of his fault that they're in the situation that they are in. So I understand her plight with that, as far as that's concerned. Also, we see more of Kane and Effie this episode. Effie is told by Norma to, have try to convince the Russians to ask for more weight so that they can make more money. Because Norma's like, well, they got the people, they got the soldiers, they'll be able to get rid of it because I have a surplus, and so I have too much drugs on my hand. I need to get rid of it. And so, anyways, and so when Effie came in to talk to Norma about this, Kane was in the room, and Kane wanted to walk Effie out, and Norma's like, no, 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 we got more business to take care of, and I'm like, girl, Norma knows what she is doing. If Norma was smart, she would just go with Davis and let Kane have Effie. Because to me, I much rather see Kane with Effie as opposed to with Norma, because I really don't like Norma at all. I don't necessarily care for Effie that much, but if I had to choose between the two, I'd much rather see Kane with Effie at the end of the day. But anyways, at the end of the episode, we see Kane coming to visit Effie because there was a shootout when she went to go meet with the Russians. Excuse me, the police force, Carter's people, came in to infiltrate the Russians, so that they can get an upper hand on them. And so Effie thankfully was safe. She was not hit by any bullets at all. She was actually a dead man fell on top of her during the whole shootout that went forward. But Kane came to come check up on his girl or whatever, and it's so endearing to me to see Kane be so sweet to Effie. Like, he's like, I care about you. Like, I just love to see a hard man, not a hard man, but like like a hard man. You know what I mean. To see a hard man, show some vulnerability. There's nothing sexier than that to me, and so we'll see what happens. It doesn't seem like Norma minds the fact that Kane is with Effie. I don't think Norma cares who she's with. I don't think love is necessarily on Norma's to-do list. So I think Kane and Effie will be safe no matter what. But it seems like Kane is probably not going to be sexually involved with Norma anymore. Excuse me. After he sees, how she's been reacting to the way that he's effed things up, or seemingly effed things up for them. But anyway, so let's get on to Monet and Diana. So I love the fact that Monet is a lot nicer to Diana these days. She's taking Diana out shopping for the baby that's on the way. And Norma and Diana, not Diana. Monet is being so nice to Diana. She's being so nice to her, and I love seeing this. I love seeing a softer side to Monet because she comes off as this hardened woman who is the top of the top as far as this drug game is concerned. But if you want to compare characters, compare. I always compare Monet to Rock from Raising Kanan, and Rock is so much more convincing as far as a gangster would be concerned. Whereas with Monet, it just seems like she's just saying the lines that are on the script, and it's like it's not necessarily believable to me. And so that's why I was so excited when Carter came into Monet's house after she had ignored all of his calls and had threatened her, and she was shook. She was shook, and it was so refreshing to see that there was someone who seems like they might have Monet's number. And it's so amazing for me to see Monet actually shook up by someone because he actually can, he actually is a threat to Monet. And that is amazing to see. And also another one of Carter's partners, has asked for Diana to take out Zion. They want Zion to be taken out, and apparently Zion had been working with Carter as well, and so that's the whole thing. And so while this partner of Carter's who is trying to get Diana, she asked for Diana to actually take out Zion. Now we all know that Diana's not a killer. Diana really doesn't even want to be in this game to begin with. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She just wants to live a normal life. But the reason why this partner of Carter's is asking Diana to take out Zion is because Carter had initially asked her, his partner, to take out Zion, who's out in the safe house because Zion knows that Kane and Norma are coming after him. And so while this partner of Carter's is on her way to go take Zion out, she gets a call from internal investigations. I'm assuming some type of internal affairs where they have to meet up with her because she's been using excessive force while on the job. Um, so she asked Diana to take Zion out. And it's so interesting to me that she would ask Diana to do it. But, anyways, and so what does Diana do? Diana hits up Tariq. And finally, we're getting to the star of the show, Mr. Tariq. So Tariq starts out the show by meeting up with Norma and basically letting her know, girl, I got too much information on you. I know exactly what you're doing. I know all the angles as far as that's concerned. And then Braden pulls out this USB port saying, we got information on the fact that you had your ex-husband taken out, and I'm sure you wouldn't want your daughter to know, and you also wouldn't want your daughter to know that you are a drug kingpin out here in these streets, and so they have a decent thing going on, or whatever the case may be. But the thing is, Tariq does not know that Carter is a threat to Norma, and he does not know that Carter has Monet under his thumb. Which is another interesting thing about these shows. It's like people are connected, but in a certain way to where everyone doesn't know everything, and so Tariq doesn't find out that Carter has Zion and has Monet under his thumb until he goes to take out Zion. And so I thought that was an interesting way for him to find out about Agent Carter. And I loved that fact. So basically, Diana asked Tariq to take out Zion for her, so that she could have it taken care of. And so after Tariq takes out Zion, that partner of Carter's, who asked Diana to take out Zion, she meets up with Diana on her way to the cookie store. She wants to meet up with Tariq to have some conversation with her, and so this partner is upset with Diana because she didn't do the deed herself, and so she goes to threaten Diana, and she that Diana goes to walk away, and she assaults Diana and seemingly kicks her in the stomach. And so I don't know if the baby's okay. I don't necessarily care whether the baby's okay or not. That's really none of my business. I really don't care. First of all, I don't think Tariq is the father to begin with. I'm pretty sure it's Salim Abdul Jabbar Ashe, whatever his name is, Freeman. I'm sure it's his baby because we didn't even see Diana and Tariq do anything last season as far as sexual relations is concerned. So there's that. So I really don't care about the baby, whether the baby's dead or not, but or whether the baby's gone or not. I would hope, at least for Diana's sake, though, and Monet's sake, it seems like this baby would bring them closer together. So maybe I would hope that the baby is okay. But anyway, so at the end of the episode, Tariq ends up going to the cookie place, excuse me, and Diana's not there, or at least not in the building. And so he goes to call her, and he hears her phone ringing out in the alley right next to the restaurant, and he sees Diana laying there out in the street, in an alleyway of sorts. And so thankfully, he at least cares. He at least cares about Diana. Anyways, this episode was excelente. This is the most that I've actually liked a police task force in this Power universe, because they actually have the upper hand. Because in every other Power type show, it seems like the police officers are always 2 or 3 steps behind the drug dealers that are in the series, and so. Was a great episode. I cannot wait to see the next one. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I know this review was a little bit all over the place, but I don't like to take notes because that means I have to be looking down during the whole video, and I think that would be a distraction for you guys. And so I'm just doing this video as it comes to my mind. But once again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Join me next week for the episode 7 review. Love you guys for watching. See you guys later.